Hey foodies, sometimes it's easy to get tired of the same old chicken recipes over and over and over, but you all know that I'm here to give you some ideas, all right? Let's get started on this. So we're going to be making the marinade for this five spice chicken. So in the bowl I have soy sauce. Now I'm adding the Chinese five spice powder and brown sugar, then some hoisin sauce and oyster sauce. If you can't find Chinese five spice in the store, you can make it at home. You just need some spices, and I'll leave some info in the description box. I just added some honey, and now I'm adding garlic and ginger. You want to grate it finely or mince it finely. All right, so that's fresh garlic, fresh ginger. And while I was doing this, I ended up adding some red food coloring. You don't have to do that. I just thought about char siu pork and char siu chicken, and usually you'd use some red bean curd or red bean paste. I didn't have that, so I just added the red food coloring. You don't have to do it, okay? So I have this whole chicken that was spatchcocked, so I cut the backbone out, and that's just going to help it to cook really nice and easy, and you'll get most of the sauce on the inside of the chicken. So just go ahead and pour the marinade all over the chicken. Now, of course, you're going to be going underneath the chicken skin as well. You don't want to put this marinade just on the outside, right? And you can do some little slits in the flesh and just rub the marinade in there. If you have one of those flavor injectors, you can put some in there and just, add some to the chicken flesh. But just make sure you marinate this nicely. It's best if you marinate it for at least 24 hours. Okay, I wouldn't recommend doing this the same day. I'll say it again, you do not have to use the red food coloring. That's okay, the flavor is what matters. So go ahead, marinate this overnight or 24 hours, which would be awesome. And then the next day, make sure your oven is preheated to 400. You're going to put a wire rack on top of a baking tray that's been lined with foil. Spray it with cooking spray or brush it with oil. Then you're going to lay the chicken on there, skin side down first. Put this in the oven on the middle rack, and you're going to do 15 minutes. All right, so 400 degrees Fahrenheit, 15 minutes. While the chicken is in the oven, you're going to take that leftover marinade that was in that Ziploc bag or that bowl, put it in a pan on the stove or a sauce pot, add some honey and hoisin sauce, let it simmer until it gets syrupy, but you want to make sure that you simmer it for at least 5 minutes because this was in contact with the raw chicken, right? So you have to make sure you simmer it for at least 5 minutes, all right? Then you'll just set it aside, all right? So the glaze is going on the stove. Take that chicken out of the oven, and then you're going to brush on that glaze on the underside. That is what I like about doing the chicken like this, butterflied chicken or cutting the backbone out. You get to access more of the inside of the chicken versus when it's just whole and intact. So brush on the glaze, then put it back in the oven. Another 15 minutes. Make sure your oven stays hot. Make sure your oven stays at 400 Fahrenheit. So put it in there for another 15 minutes. Take it out of the oven, and then you can use tongs or grab some paper towel and just flip the chicken over. Then you're going to brush on the glaze, of course, right? So brush on the glaze and put this back into the oven for another 15 minutes. Down there, I did put some hot water because it started to burn a little bit because we're dealing with sugar and honey, right? so it tends to brown quickly. So you can pour some water in that baking tray just to prevent a lot of smoking from happening in the oven. So brush on the glaze. We're going to build up the outer coating, right? So this is going to go into the oven now for another 15 minutes. Then you're going to go back again and glaze it again, right? That's how you get that beautiful coating. You got to build it up, right? If you only coat it once, then you won't get that nice appearance in the end. All right, so checking on the chicken here, I just brushed on some more glaze, and then that is it. You can turn on the broiler if you want to. I did turn on the broiler a bit just to get some of that char, because I just like to get some of that on the chicken. And I had to put this ramekin there because the sauce was running down. I think I should have flattened the chicken a little bit more. So I put the ramekin to just keep the breast level so the sauce could stick to it. You can use a ball of rolled foil paper if you want to, but that is it. The chicken is glossy. It has those little bits of char, so it kind of feels like you put this on the grill outside. I love that. The tips are a little bit burnt, but I told you guys what happened, right? I forgot to tuck those behind the breast. And I had this juicy, flavorful chicken with some sesame broccoli and plain rice. That is it. You can try this for dinner next week. It is so good. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.